Hi there, and welcome to this video tutorial, which is about the Mathify API. What is Mathify? Mathify is an AI math animation maker, but the Mathify API basically lets you generate math animations from natural language prompts, but with an API. I suppose that if you're watching this video, you know what an API is, so I will not go into that. You can use the API to create animations programmatically, which can be super useful if you want to do something like this YouTube channel. So many of these animations are, most of these are community animations, but for example, these animations that you see about Fourier epicycles, these are animations that I prompted via a Google Sheet with the help of the Mathify API with some workflows that I have on n8n. Now, some workflows like the ones I use are more advanced, but we're going to start with a very simple one, just for the sake of introducing, for example, like the Quickstart. What is the Quickstart? With the Quickstart, I will teach you how to, by the way, you go to mathify.dev docs, like you go to Mathify, and you go to API, and you open it in a new tab, and this is how you land here, by the way, mathify.dev docs. So in the Quickstart, we have the example of creating a project, sending a message to start a Mathify generation, and polling the result, which is a workflow that more or less looks like this one. I will give you a link that you can use to, for example, say, go to mathify.dev, n8n automations, Quickstart sample, and you can import this into n8n. But for the sake of the video tutorial and for explaining each endpoint of the API, we are going right now to go to n8n, and I'm actually going to create a new workflow. So I'm going to start a new workflow from scratch. And obviously have some reference here, and I'm going to teach you. So the first thing we need is, I guess, one for like a manual trigger, right? When we click here, we can execute the workflow. But we want, for example, to make an HTTP request, right? I suppose, yeah. So we click here. Yeah. So we want it to be a post request. Which one? I will tell you in a moment. So the one we care about is, let's see, if we go to the Mathify API, we want this one. Right. So we copy and paste that one. Like this. So we choose post request as the method. The URL is going to be this one, mathify.dev API v1 projects. And for the authentication, I need to talk about that. We're going to send authentication in a header. It's API key. And so we go, let's see, here. So in authentication, you go to mathify.dev settings, you open this in a new tab. You're going to be required to create a Mathify account if you're not logged in into Mathify, just sign in. But basically, we're going to say here, video tutorial. And so this gives me my Mathify API key. Obviously, I'm going to delete this one later. I hope I don't forget. And so I go to n8n, and here the value is the Mathify API Mathify key, right? Slide Mathify API key. The Mathify API key, as you can see in the docs, is scoped to your user ID, so you don't need to actually identify yourself other than with the API key. And by the way, in the workflow that I have here that I'm going to give you so that you import this, obviously in this workflow, everything is an environment variable, Mathify API key and Mathify base URL. So that's how you do it more professionally with n8n, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm showing you how to put the actual values here. Okay. Yeah, why not? I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine. So yeah, so send body. We can send, the body is optional when it comes to creating a project. Here in the API reference, you can see, for example, that to create a project, if you omit the body, yeah, it's optional. If you don't send it, it creates the title automatically. As you can see here, it's not required. You create a project, the body is not required. And here it also says, right, like you can drop the body or the name. You can drop the name parameter or drop the entire body. Yeah, so because I know what I want to do, I'm going to actually add it. So we can add it here, the body as JSON, I guess, body content using fields below, using JSON. Why not? We're going to do it like this. Yeah, Pythagorean theorem. Why not? And let's see. Yeah. So we can execute a step right away. And we have here a Pythagorean theorem animation, which is the one I just created. So for example, if I go to Mathify, let's see. So I have here a few that I have done before. I'm going to be posting these ones to YouTube. I also created them with the API automatically. Like I have a list in a Google Sheet of prompts, which I'm going to show you how to do later in another chapter in the video. So for example, here, this is an empty project, by the way. Usually when you create a Mathify project with the UI, you have the first message right away showing up here. So it's funny to see it like this. Obviously, it doesn't show up like this usually because the whole point of this is to also reuse the project ID, right? So I'm going to show you how to reuse the project ID in the next step. So for example, what do we want next? So we would send a message next, right? Let's give a name to this one though. How do I give a name to this step? Let's see. HTTP request. Rename. One. Create project. Okay. So let's see. We create a project, and what do we do next? We create another HTTP node, right? But this one is going to be about sending a message. Okay, sending a message. Again, let's see. So to send a message, the endpoint we need, as we see here in the Quickstart, is this one: HTTP post projects message, right? So we will do it like this. We go here. It's another post method. You can see the details in the API reference in the documentation. And we want to reuse the previous output, right? So we will reuse this project ID here like this. That would be a project ID, okay? That's the way to use the API. However, we prefer an expression. So the kind of expression that we would prefer is this one. Why this one? Because, by the way, if you set the Mathify base URL as an environment variable in your n8n configuration settings, I'm going to show you how to do that at the end of the video. You can just call here the Mathify base URL, and you can do the same with the environment variable, with the API key, right? So you just add the path of the API and the output. Remember that the name of the output of the previous node is one.createProject, right? We call it like that. So .item.json.project.id, which is the output / messages, which should look kind of like this, okay? Yeah, is it recognizing the variable? We'll see. Yeah, for the authentication, so we send the header again, and we send, for example, its API key, and we can also do an expression here. Not here. Here in the value, you can do an expression, and the expression we can use is something as simple as Mathify API key. For some reason, n8n is not recognizing this, but it's going to work because I have the Mathify API key. Another one that I have, another one that I just show you, but it works the same because it's from my account. I have the Mathify API key saved as an environment variable in my n8n workspace. So what else do we need? Content type application JSON. I don't think we need that one. Should be fine. I think that one is optional. I don't think you need to specify the content type by any means. Create message, send a message, and start generation. Authorization project sample. Yeah, you can see here the details of everything, but I think this suffices. This should work. Now, I'm not going to run this in isolation. I could. And you know what? Why not? Let's run it once in isolation. I'm going to use this project ID just so that it actually reuses the previous output. Let's see. Yeah, I could do fixed. I'm overcomplicating this, right? I actually think it's going to use the previous output because the input is here. So I don't need to actually, it's going to reuse the previous output because here we have the input on the left. So I can just run this. So let's give it a shot. I'm worried about this not detecting it, but we'll see what happens. Bad request, please check your parameters, invalid JSON body. Oh, I forgot the JSON body. The content type, I don't need the header content type, but I don't need the body, of course, because I need to say here that we want, for example, animate the Pythagorean theorem, right? So we do that and execute the step. And there you go. We get as output the message ID and the fragment ID and the status that it's generating. I don't know why n8n is doing this, like I have no idea, but it doesn't matter. It's detecting it. I guess I could show you very quickly. Here, you go to variables here and available on ProPlan. Well, that's crazy. There must be an issue with my my account because I do have the ProPlan. Let me refresh this. I need to check on this, but I will show you when I take care of this. Because here you have you set environment variables, of course, right? Obviously. So this is my entire workflow. Oh, but I lost what I had before. Well, that's unfortunate, but I can still show you the result. Here we sent the message, so therefore it's actually waiting for the animation to continue. And we wait for a couple minutes, and here we're going to get the result. How do we check for the result, though? We have to we have to poll for it, right? So we poll for it. How do we poll for it? Here we go to Quickstart and we poll for the result. This is the endpoint for polling for the result. So we're going to poll for the result. And the way we do that, we go here, executions. I wonder if we can go back to this one. Yeah, so here we're in the previous execution that we had. So we can continue here. That's fine. Let's see animation. So we're going to make a loop here. Like for example, we're going to say here, wait for 30 seconds. And then we're going to pull the fragment. By the way, this one I wanted to rename. Let's rename this one as to send message. Okay, rename. Okay, and here we do HTTP request as well. And it's a get. This one is a get. And we're going to do an expression, Mathify base URL, the path that we have here in Quickstart, API v1 fragments, specific fragments, the ID of the fragment. What is the ID of the fragment? Well, technically that would be the ID of this fragment, which I think you cannot see the ID here in the UI, which obviously you don't care about this yet right away, but when it's done, it shows here like the ID of the fragment. But obviously with the API, you can see it right away because it returns here the fragment ID. And so the fragment ID goes after /fragment, fragment, and the ID of the fragment. For what purpose? To get the, let's see here, you get the fragment, and you get a lot of things about the fragment, such as the animation URL, right? The animation URL is going to be either a URL or null until it is actually fulfilled. So we pull for it. Again, we send the headers. Let's say API key, and the expression should be our API key, the variable. I hope you won't steal it from me because it's kind of like showing it here, which I didn't want, but it's not showing all of it. This one is still my API key of my own product. So yeah, with nobody because it's just a GET request. We execute the step. Why is it executing the previous nodes? I didn't want that. No. Well, it's waiting for 30 seconds. Oh, it's executing the previous node, only the one that is waiting. It's not executing this one, I hope, because this one is, I hope, the one that we were just working with. Yeah, so the animation URL is still null, because this thing is still working out the animation, right? We can see here, it fits in the issues. So for example, there's a small overlap here. That's fine, don't worry about it. It's scanning for issues, and it's running commands. I suppose that Mathify is sort of like saying, maybe you have to move a few things around a little bit. And so it thinks for a little bit, runs commands to say like, oh, maybe I should have to move that a little bit and calculate where to move it. So Mathify is taking care of that. I'm confident this one is going to turn out fine. So the purpose of the poll loop is to keep polling, right? So let's see. We can add a condition. Let's see if the statement, yeah, this one. So two values, let's see, we can say conditions, an expression, the output of the previous node, like so JSON.fragment animation URL, which is the one animation URL, it's a null, right? In the past, this used to be an empty string in the API. So what I got accustomed to do is just to say it's not empty. But apparently it still works, actually. The null value, you can add a condition like this and it will work. Like it's not empty. And you're going to get the false branch, right? The true branch. There's nothing here because actually it's not empty. It's false, right? No, hold on. I got confused. Animation URL. Animation URL is not empty. It's true. No, it's false, right? Because it's empty. Look at that. I'm a programmer of many years of experience and getting confused about that. So it's not empty. That's false. So we get here the false branch, right? So what do we do if that's false? We go back here and it keeps polling. So if I say, for example, execute this step, for some reason it always waits here for 30 seconds, and it's going to keep waiting. In the meantime, we can add I already demonstrated this, so it's not necessary, but in the meantime, I can add like the done video ready node, which, let's see, what type of node should I add when the video is ready? Is there something like a finish? There's a type of node just for showing the output in n8n, but I kind of like forgot which one it is. Flow, AI, action in the app. No, human review, flow, data transformation. Yeah, I really forgot the node that is just sort of like takes an input and it's the same output, just for the sake of presentation to signal that we're done. So, is it just called done? No, it's not called like that. Action in the app, human review, data transformation, flow. Check it's a workflow. Yeah, well, we can see what kind of node that one is, I'm sure here. The node that I intend is, let's see, done video ready. It's a base node. Yeah, it's confusing. What is the type of node I'm looking for? Yeah, wait a moment. No joke, this is what I was looking for. But I struggle so that you don't have to. So this is the thing, the no operation node, which just execute the step. And oh no, I messed up. Oops, not here. Yeah, it goes from here to here. Oh, that one. Yeah, so apparently it's still actually looping. Let's see why. It probably fits in the thing. It's animations sometimes take a couple of minutes. That's fair. But in return, Mathify makes sure that the animation quality is perfect because it scans for issues for a brief moment until it gets it right. So we're going to wait just for this to finish. Let's see. Yeah, so we're going to wait just for a moment, and that's the whole point, right? Our automation is here, right? Now, obviously, in the next chapter, we're going to see how we can have the prompts coming from a Google Sheet and how get the results into another Google Sheet, and perhaps even post to social media and YouTube. Like that's obviously the most beautiful thing in the world. And why not? I can show you here. Like I do this. Like I'm not kidding you. So for example, I have like a daily automation from Sheets flow, which I'm going to show you how to do it. That basically gets sheets from rows and does whatever it needs to do to even add music. With API, you can add music. I also have another one which is a social media scheduler, which pulls the results, pulls the URLs and whatever it has to do in order to post to social media, which I do here in the shorts. As you can see, these typically get hundreds of views and saves me a lot of time and it's very fun. So this is what you can achieve, and I'm going to keep showing you how. This video turned longer than I expected, and because I taught you how to build the thing. But the sky is the limit. Please check out the API reference. In the n8n example, I will be adding more videos about how to actually exploit n8n. This one is really for the quick start. But here, the sky is the limit. You have the API reference. You can add music and stuff like that too. And I hope people are going to also create awesome tutorials about how to exploit the Mathify API. Just for the sake of finishing this, I'm going to show you, well, let's do it here. So in executions, we have this one that is running. So how do I go to this one? For some reason, I cannot see it in my editor anymore. But once it's done, it's going to show here the result. But in the editor, exactly what I have here, you can get it by, for example, like importing from the URL. We can get it from this URL, which I'm going to be linking in the video description and in the documentation as well. And you import it. And here it's exactly what we just did with instructions about how to set up the variables, which I understand you just have to go to personal and variables. There's an issue with my account. I want to see what's going on. I'm sure it's actually upgraded. But here you have like the option to create the variables and just add like the variables, right? Unless it's supposed to be credentials, I don't think so. But yeah, that's it. I'm just going to post the video just so that we have. This is not the one that we just did. This is the one that we just did. Yeah, the execution is not done, so I'm just going to wait. Okay, so the animation is actually done, and you can see here the result of it. But obviously, you don't have to look at your dashboard. The whole point of the API is that you probably don't even look at this stuff, and I usually don't for the ones that I actually have automated, right? So, oops, that's funny. For some reason, it didn't catch our last change where this was supposed to actually go in the proper place, right? Which is here. But you get the point, anyways. It's the same idea. But I want to show you this one instead, right? Because this one actually had like the correct routing, right? So obviously, once the animation is done, you get this kind of result, and now the condition is going to evaluate to true, right? Because here, for example, the true branch animation URL is not empty, true. Therefore, here's the output, and you can do whatever you want with it. So that's how you use the API. Let me know if you have any questions. If you want help setting it up, just reach out to me. And if you want to make videos on the internet about how to actually, how you want to use API for whatever, n8n, Zapier, or any other kind of workflow or tutorials, or building up with it, I'm at your service. And there's no mobile app. I have decided to create one. So you can create one that is kind of like a math animation maker. I think it's fine. But perhaps this is going to be the most useful as well for content creators who want to automate a few things. Again, further tutorials are coming about how I use it for my own workflows and basically can create this kind of like Fourier epicycles animations. That's what I've been wanting to create, Fourier epicycles animation, but I have more ideas like animations about equations and shorts about that. And you can add music. For example, I like this one. I guess the prompt that I use to create this kind of Fourier epicycle that you see here. What happened? I wanted to show you the one of the. I like it. I use that make do this. API. You have a list of prompts in the bullshit. You use it and then post it automatically to YouTube. Usually, I actually still take a look before scheduling the ones that I want to post on my wheelshit. But the Mathify API also has some quality scoring that you can get here, right? If you get the evals, because I have evals that I use, but you can see the visual rubric and even engagement rubric and all that stuff that you can use to make sure that the quality threshold is there. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm excited about this first tutorial, and I'm going to be uploading new ones about how to exploit this with n8n. Thank you and good luck.